What's up, guys? Welcome back to the M Empire podcast. It's been a while. The last time that I had a podcast was with Jackson. He walked us through how to start a lawn mowing business. I'd love to make a video with him soon and kind of get a follow-up. This video, I want to talk about how I've been able to grow my business by an average of 63% a year. That's pretty good, I'd say. A lot of companies, probably really big companies, if they add, 5 to 10% to their business a year, then they're probably doing some good celebrations. So, as you can see, I'm driving home. We just recently had twins, and so I have no time. Really, whenever I'm home, I'm on dad duty, so I have no time. So right now is the only time I have to make this video, and I've wanted to for a little bit. I want to talk about the first few years of a business. I've had a lot of friends my age, late teens, early 20s, start businesses, and then a year and a half later or a few months later, they're on to the next business and the next business and the next business. The only way that you're going to truly be successful is if you focus on one thing. It's very tempting to have multiple streams of revenue whenever you're young, because people say there's 7 streams of income to become a millionaire. And that's not true. Most people make their first million doing the same boring thing every single day for 20 years. And then once they have $1 million, they want to be able to keep that $1 million. And so then they have seven different ways that money is protected. They invest in the stock market. They invest it in real estate. If they're silly and dumb, they might invest it in crypto. So they have just a lot of different ways that they can park that money and let it grow good interest, okay? What I want to say is, if you have multiple businesses and you're under the age of, say, 25, you really need to cut the strands on a lot of those. You have to focus on something. I, at one point, had 3 LLCs functioning and operating and about 5 side hustles total. It was way too much. I was buying and selling motorcycles and trailers. I was doing DJing on the side. I was doing the podcast as an actual business. I was doing social media stuff. I was doing pressure washing stuff. Within each of those businesses, I had multiple services. It was too much. The most successful people have, and this is the most successful people starting out, okay? Obviously, when you're a little bit older, a little bit smarter, you can have multiple businesses. You don't have kids living at home. You're technically retired, and you're just owning businesses for fun. When you're at that stage, sure, do what you want. But whenever you're in the beginning stages of growing a business, you must have a few services within those business that you focus on, and you must have one business. And so I own a pressure washing business. Within pressure washing, there's multiple different services that you can do. I have slowly cut out washing decks, washing painted black gutters because they don't seem to dry good. They have these little soap suds and a ton of other things, okay? And a lot of people are like, man, you're missing out on money, okay? I could add a ton to my business by having these services, but what they don't know is, if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. I'm sure you've heard that quote. But the thing is, people hear the quote and go off and do it anyways. Until I started focusing on 2 things. I wash vinyl houses, and I clean out gutters, and I power wash driveways. Other than that, I do gutter guards and Christmas lights. And a lot of those services are seasonal, so I only have 1 or 2 services that I focus on in a given season. Okay? My business did not grow very much. Okay, like I said, it's 63% average. That means some years I've doubled my business, and some years was less than 63%. Okay? And so the years where I struggled were the years that I agreed to every single job. And it was a setback after setback after setback. I was doing services that I was watching YouTube videos on the way there. I was dealing with angry customers because I messed up on a service that I was not a professional in. Whenever I started only doing a few services, I started getting really good at them, and people started leaving a lot of 5-star reviews. There's a lot of people inside my industry that have been doing this for 10, 15 years. They only have 30 or 50 5-star reviews. Currently, we're at 115 5-star reviews. And that's pretty good. There's only probably 1 or 2 more people above me, maybe 3, that have more reviews, better reviews. And I think that determines the true health of a business. What are the customers saying about your business? I don't care if you've been doing this for 15 years. If nobody knows you exist, nobody knows you exist. If you open up Google and you're the number one, if you open up Facebook and you're the number one, if you open up all of these different platforms and you are the number one, then you are the most relevant. But the thing that I was saying is that takes time. Okay? So if you keep jumping between businesses, you're likely jumping between businesses because you don't actually succeed. Okay, you do something for 6 months and you're not making money. You're making a few $100 here, a few $100 there, but everybody knows deep down inside when their business is not actually successful. Maybe you go to the family cookout and you say, oh, business is doing well, but you know deep down inside that your business is not actually doing well and you haven't had a job for a week. Okay? And that's a scary place. And that's a place that I continue to be in. Even 5 years into business, having possibly the 3rd largest company in Springfield for my industry, I still have times where I have slow times. And so I know for a fact that the guys with less reviews than me, the guys with less years in the business than me, are struggling. And that's okay. Everybody struggles, everybody learns. The thing is, do you give up on it? Okay? So, if you own a lawn mowing company, if you own a side hustle, if you're doing some accounting thing, whatever it is, stick with it, okay? If you like it just a little bit and you know the money is good and you didn't just do it because someone said, hey bro, you should do that business, I hear they make a ton of money, okay, you're probably in it for the wrong reason if that's the reason you have the business. But if you're in the business because you said, you know what, I've thought about it, I've done some research, this business seems to do well, and all it takes is, a few years to grow it, and then I can be making a lot of money. Plumbing is a great example. Everybody says, oh, whenever I had a plumber come over, he charged me $1,500 for a new water heater. I looked up that exact water heater online. It was only $300. He made $1,200. I want to start a plumbing business. And then you don't have customers because no one knows who the heck you are. Nobody wants to give the new guy a shot because you have no experience. Nobody wants their basement to be flooded because you have no experience. And that's the part of business that's hard. Even if it's a business where you make thousands of dollars a day, you're not going to make thousands of dollars a day the first few years. You're going to suck at it. You're going to be terrible at it. It's not going to be like the sports you played in high school. It's not going to be like the video game that you're really good at. Business is a different game. It's a game that everybody sucks at when they start. There are lucky breaks. There are people that will start a business and grow it very quickly. But it's likely that they have a graveyard of businesses ahead of them that they have failed at. I failed at 2 or 3 businesses before I had my company that does gutter guards, okay? Within that company, I've changed the business model a few times. I've changed the services a few times, okay? And so that's the advice that I have for you today. if you want to add 63% revenue to your business every year, it takes gosh dang consistency. You're not going to be the number one the first few years. You have to keep going and you have to find a way. The next advice that I would give is that you must be organized. You might be a non-organized person in real life, but whenever it comes to the business, you have to write down all your clients' names, how much you charged, why you charged them that much, if that's important to you. You have to write down what day you did the job. You got to write down whether they paid you with cash or with a check, because sometimes clients will come back 6 months later and say, hey, I want a receipt. I paid you with cash. But then I go look at my records. I'm like, actually, no, you paid me via check. Check your bank from this day. You should be able to see where you had money withdrawn. That just happened recently. And I was able to send them a receipt via email. But they sure as heck didn't, pay cash. They paid check. So that's important. Okay. Now here's probably the most important thing. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I promise next time I'm going to have a more structured thing. I'm going to have notes written out on what I want to say. But it's been so long since I've done a podcast, I figured I'd just start yapping. And if you're still listening, I promise you what I'm about to say is the most important part. You must create a system. A system is a process that you follow every gosh dang day, whether you're sick, whether you're tired, whether you're having a good day or a bad day. It's a system. It's a process that you follow every day, and that's what will make you successful. If after every single job you do, you post the before and after picture on Facebook, you then post the before and after on Google, you ask them for a review, you write down the client information in your CRM, which is your customer relationship management tool. It's the place where you hold all the information for your business. So if you have all of those things, you have a system. My mistake is that year 1 through 3, all I did was say, I want to make $100,000. And here is my plan to make $100,000. I'm going to pass out this many door hangers. I'm going to do this much spend on Facebook ads. And honestly, the first few years I didn't even make a plan. I just had goals. I eventually made a plan, but that was still not working because I was not following the plan. The only thing that works is a system that you like, okay? At night, you watch Reels for an hour after eating your last meal. And then you brush your teeth, and then you lay in bed and watch Reels for a little bit more. And then you go to sleep. That's a system. It's the thing that you do every single night. Even if it's something you shouldn't be doing, you should be prioritizing sleep and probably staying off of social media. Look, we all live in a world where social media is addicting, and sometimes we just need a relief from life, and that's fine. Okay, whatever. But it's your system, it's your process. And so maybe your system and process is every single day I'm going to wake up and the first thing I do is open up the laptop. That's your only system. Okay, but the thing is, when you open up your laptop, the last tab that was open was your CRM, and it's able to show you how much money you made, how much money you lost. It's able to show you which services are the most profitable, which ones are doing the best, which ones you like the most, where all your leads are coming from. Are your customers coming from Facebook or from Google or from word of mouth or referrals or business cards? Okay, all of those metrics are important to have. But if your system is, hey, when I wake up, first thing I do, I open up the laptop, I look at the CRM. Okay, from then, I'm motivated to kind of make some changes throughout the day. Okay, I see that driveway cleaning is not that profitable, but I'm able to stay busy with gutter guards. And so I know next time that somebody calls me and they want their driveway cleaned, I'm either going to give them a really high price so that they either don't do it, or if I do get the job, it's worth doing, or I'm going to tell them I don't do that service, because even if I price it high, I don't want to risk getting that job. And that's exactly what I do. On the services that I don't want to do, but I'm okay with doing it, I price really, really high. On the services that even if I get the job, I do not want to do it, I just simply tell them I don't do it. The only way that I know that is from writing down my numbers, looking at my system and my process, and saying, okay, well, it looks like to me that driveway cleaning doesn't make that much, and so I need to cut it out of my business. I need to focus on only things that truly are worth my time. And so that is how you actually accomplish your goals. I, this year, did not write down really goals. I know what my goals are internally. I don't need to write them down. I don't need to look at them in the mirror and manifest it. That's retarded. Excuse my language. What I need to do is actually focus on what I can do every single day to make sure it's successful. If I make more money off of gutter guards than any other service, then every single day that I wake up, I'm going to find a way to get another gutter guard job. I'm going to find a way to advertise on Facebook. I'm going to post another picture on Google that helps me rank for gutter guards. And so that is my system. That's my process. There's only one way to do things, and that's by actually doing it. Talking about it is not doing it. Manifesting is not doing it. Actually doing it is doing it. Okay? We're not in the game of fighting or boxing. We don't need to sit there and manifest it and envision things. What we need to do is open up the laptop and gosh dang get to work. You need to make adjustments to your website so that your clients know exactly what you offer. You need to make adjustments to the way that you're posting on Facebook. If I don't want to do pressure washing anymore and I only want to do gutter guards, I'm not going to be posting on Facebook that I do pressure washing. I'm going to be posting on Facebook that I do gutter guards. And as new clients start figuring me out, start learning, hey, Joe said that they got their gutter guards done. I'm going to call this kid. But first, let's look him up on Facebook, make sure he's got good reviews. Then they look me up on Facebook. Sure enough, all of the before and after pictures are of gutter guards or of services that I want to be doing. And that helps. Okay, everything is a brand. America is a brand. The way that it works, the way that we follow a law, an order, a process, a system is all underneath a brand. When people think of my company, I want them to think of extremely honest, extremely friendly. They just do a good job. They show up on time. I don't want them to think, well, last time I hired him, he showed up 3 hours late and he didn't do a good job. He kind of lied to me about the price. He ended up adding this weird tax thing that ended up making it more expensive than what we agreed upon. Look, that's not the way that I run my business. I run my business exactly how I would want to be treated. From the time that they call my phone to the time that I send them the QR code for them to leave a review on my Google, that entire process I want to be smooth for them. And that process can only be built by time in the business. Figuring out what softwares work for you, figuring out what brand you want, what colors you want, figuring out what services you like to do within your business. You create a system, you create a process. And after you do the same boring thing every single day to slowly chip away at building your business, you eventually become successful. You're an overnight success because for 2 years, I made absolutely nothing. I would go months without having a pressure washing job. Then again, the next year, it was a little bit better, but it was still slow. Not enough to live off of. Luckily, at the time, I was living at home. Next year, little bit better. Not quite enough to live off of. The next year, okay, I could maybe get an apartment. The next year, okay, maybe I could rent a house. The business will grow. I promise you the business will grow, but you must have a system and a process. Please don't write down, I want to make $10,000 this year. Instead, write down, when I wake up, I'm opening up the laptop and I'm calling 3 companies. I'm just going to cold call them. I'm going to see if they need my services. After those 3, no matter what happens, whether I get a job or not, I'm going to go on to my next task. My next task is going to be uploading the before and after pictures from yesterday's job, or uploading information into my software so that all of my numbers and analytics are accurate, and valuable. So listen, guys, I'm wrapping up this video. Hopefully you like kind of this discussion. If I seem aggressive, it's because I'm talking to my old self. I made a lot of silly mistakes, and I am far from perfect. I do not know everything. I am not the richest person in my neighborhood. I'm not the richest person in my age group. I'm just a regular Joe trying to figure crap out. And if you want to listen to this regular Joe and learn how I grew the business by 63% on average every year, then follow the things that I did. System and process. Be organized. Focus on one business, one service, 2 services within the business, whatever it may be. Just focus hard on it. Stop thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. Don't just spend 2 years in a business and then say, you know what, I'm going to switch businesses again and switch businesses again. I promise you that's not how you're going to be successful.